Alright, we are live. One thing I've noticed this year is I have many diverse friend groups. Some are belly dancers from back when I was in Vegas. Some are people I've met at the university. Some of the people are in my field of countering violent extremism. So before I share this story, I want to talk a little bit about Glitterpill. So, Glitterpill is a community that I created right around 2018. I was experiencing the most institutional opposition I've ever faced. And me and like a group of researchers and people who just are fascinated by terrorism and extremism kind of got together, formed our little Twitter group, and we're talking. And it's been a long time since the community's evolved and expanded, but the unifying thread of the community are these moments of joyful collaboration. So even the name Glitterpill is one of those moments that kind of solidified what my group and my community is about. The way this name came about, I was creating materials for a training presentation for the legal counsel of the Title IX office. And I really wanted to explain, sorry, it's a little cold out, so I might be a little sniffly. I really wanted to explain to program administrators the concept of getting pilled as a suffix. And I had this idea, if people have seen Forrest Gump, that film, say hey, of describing the concept of getting pilled the way Bubba describes shrimp. So I had this image of scenes from the film when Bubba's talking about all the different ways you can prepare shrimp, especially the one where they're cleaning something with toothbrushes. I think he and Forrest are doing that, and he's saying, you can have this shrimp, that shrimp, this shrimp. So I wanted to create this image, and I was discussing it with my group, because that's what we're about. And I said, you can have red pill, black pill, blue pill. And one of my OG Glitterpill members said, Glitterpill. And the name just stuck. So we christened ourselves Glitterpill that day. And I'm so grateful for these joyful moments of collaboration, because they got me through the worst of grad school. They got me through the worst of institutional opposition. They got me through kind of the public perception that the work I do is the same thing as being, my nose is ready. There's the same thing as being a fascist sympathizer. Basically, these joyful moments of collaboration are the staple of the community that I've built. And and one other moment of collaboration is with me and my research peer in one of June's groups. I just tossed this idea out and said, I have this idea that getting red-pilled isn't necessarily opening your eyes to this new reality as much as it is joining a kind of cult. So the image I have in my head, I can't draw, by the way. Hey, Noe, how's it going? So the image I had in my head was of a red pill opening and going directly into a Kool-Aid jar to kind of emphasize the cult aspect. And my research peer, Stevie Vitolo Haddad, was like, I'm on it. And she sketched out this first draft. It was black and white, of a hand, kind of like a puppet master hand, opening this red pill and it going into that little Kool-Aid jar. And then someone in our extended networks who's really good with graphic design turned it into this super cool retro red and yellow image of what became like the Kool-Aid image. And it's one of the proudest moments in my research career, which is strange because it's a meme, right? But if you can summarize the radicalization process in that medium, like that shows you understand your subject enough and you understand the process enough to be able to make relevant memes, right? So that was the second moment of joyful collaboration I experienced in kind of the extended Glitterpill network. Now here is the third one, my favorite this year. So many people who were local came into the Glitterpill community after being doxxed by some fash type boogaloo style account on Twitter. I was like, well, if you're doxxed, come to my group. I'll make latkes, it'll be cool, right? And I did. And so many of those members joined, and one of those members does sex work. So in the course of all of us just hanging out, discussing, sharing, we have a private Facebook group. Some random conservative creeped into her DMs and for whatever reason started antagonizing her, realized that she wasn't to be messed around with, and then called her a thug whore. And the thing about sex work that I learned, because the graduate program that I went to, one of the areas of study was sex work, and one of the girls in my cohort did sex work at one of the ranches, and it changed my perspective of what sex work could be. Like, there is an exploitive aspect that usually disproportionately affects women of color, women and trans people of color, and then there is this sense of agency and reclaiming your body and seizing the means of your own production that I've learned through interacting with members of my cohort and people who do sex work. And one of the ways that men continue to try and control women's bodies is through shame. So when this conservative reached out to one of my friends in the Glitterpill community and called her a thug whore, he was attempting to shame her into silence. And I'm not about that. I think as long as you do things consensually, like, have fun, do your thing, right? If you're seizing the means of your own production, that's something empowering, right? But one of the members, June, who I love dearly, is a counter disinformation specialist in our group, he basically was on it, and he was like, you know what? Thug Whore is actually a great band name. And so they started brainstorming, and they came up with, like, you know those CDs that they used to have in, like, Tower Records, and, like, when people used to sell CDs? I'm old, maybe I'm aging myself. Where it's like, you know, explicit lyrics, trigger warning, not safe for work. So they had, like, thug whore, imagery with, like, anti-fascist women, and all kinds of stuff. But one of the best ones was, thug whore, fuck around and find out. And my community converted those memes into, like, mugs and little mouse pads and stickers. And for me, more than anything, that moment in Glitterpill symbolized the spirit of, like, joyful collaboration, which I'm all about and which is one of the staples of the Glitterpill community, and also reclaimed narratives. You know, the thing I think most people look down on when they think about sex work is that somebody must do it because they're being exploited, or somebody must do it because they're cold-hearted. But really, there is this aspect to sex work that I'm learning through interacting with women who do it, is that it can be empowering. So the fact that a male counter-disinformation specialist could collaborate with a sex worker in my community to produce this awesome thing that's like, yeah, you tried to shame us, but we turned it into a meme, right? Like, I just love those moments. And I understand my Glitterpill community might not be for everyone, but I'm just really excited to have more of those moments in 2021. So that's my morning walk thoughts right now. I'm going to share both the link to our merchandise so you can see the thug core imagery and other products we've created in the group. All of the proceeds go to the people who created it, in this case Em and June. And I'm also going to share June's Patreon. As a counter-disinformation specialist, some of you might be scratching your heads and wondering what that is. It's hard to articulate the significance of what you do. It's a hyper-niche field. And because it's a hyper-niche field, people don't quite... I think a lot of people don't know how to fund that necessarily, so many people who do this hyper-specialized work wind up going into, Patreon and crowdfunding their efforts, because the communities that appreciate it are not necessarily the communities you would find in grant supporting agencies or other things. So I will share both of those after I finish my morning walk today. It's a beautiful, slightly chilly day out. And if you're interested in learning more about the Glitterpill community, I am happy to share a link to the tab in my website where we describe what we're about, what we aim to do. We're kind of part support group, part think tank. We have weekly self-care chats. We have many opportunities to experience that joyful collaboration. We have many opportunities for people to share kind of what they're going through and process it. There's usually always a member that's there to listen and can relate to the experience of whatever people are going through in that group. Getting a little out of breath walking up this hill, but I love my community. I love the way it's growing. I love the resources I'll be adding in the new year, and I love June and Em for having that moment together and reclaiming this term, thug whore, because I don't think anybody should shame anyone into stopping things that give them joy. And I think that shame is most frequently projected onto independent women who recognize something's wrong with the way that women tend to be sexualized from the time they're little to the time they're adults. And I just hope that more women, regardless of getting into sex work or, just advocating for themselves, can see how kind of abnormal it is to live their lives sorry, sometimes I'm articulate, sometimes I'm not. To live their lives in a way that makes them most pleasing to men, if that makes sense. And exploit their own labor, essentially. You don't have to be a woman to experience exploitation. If you're a high school English instructor or any type of professor, the expectation is that you will sacrifice your time, your time that you're supposed to be resting, perhaps money, because you should be doing it for the children. And it's often those shoulds that shame people into behaving in ways that block their own success and happiness. And I don't think that's the right way to go about things. I don't want to tell anybody what they should and shouldn't do. But if there are a lot of people in your life that tell you what you should and shouldn't do, maybe do what you actually want. So I kind of see Glitterpill as a tool for social inquiry and exploring those moments where you can see what you actually want, what you enjoy, what you're passionate about, and the way society often conditions you to, like, let go of your dreams. It's kind of sad, but it doesn't have to be. So, yeah, those are my random morning thoughts, and I will share all of those links when I get back. I finish my walk, and I'll talk to you all soon, and I hope that this gave you a little bit of taste of, like, what Glitterpill is about. And if you want to learn more, DM me. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. And I hope to talk to you all soon.